Reddit, what the best revenge you've ever gotten on someone? My roommate trashed he's not the smartest, room in a fit of petty revenge. I convinced our entire school that he wrote a heartfelt letter to our school president asking for his hero, Scott Stapp of Creed, to be our graduation speaker. I'm pretty sure I won. What's the best or ingenious, or even evil way you've gotten revenge on someone before? I made my old boss think I gave him herpes. I worked in a factory for a while, and my boss was a beyond like fire people for no reason then go home and beat your wife. He was also untouchable due to his uncle owning the company. He would come down to the floor while we were at break to check our work, and he would use my gloves to do it. Made us buy our own gloves. I bought really nice comfy ones. Thought this was extremely nasty. It was the middle of summer, and asked him to stop. He just shrugged. After about 3 happenings, I got an idea. I grabbed an old pair of gloves, a poison ivy leaf, and a hammer. Put the poison ivy in glove and pounded away. Kept the gloves in a bag in my lunchbox till I went to lunch. Sure enough, left the poison gloves out and he used them. I came back and sure enough he used them. 2 hours later he came out to my machine, itching like crazy and red bumps all over his hands. Came right up to me. Let me see your hands. I showed him my hands. He showed me his. You didn't use my gloves, did you? I got some terrible rash on my hands from some at the strip club last week. No words, no looks. He just left. He left work, went to the doctor, and I hope told that exact story. Back when I was a wee kid, we lived across from a popular public pool in a tiny street, so parking was premium. We sometimes had issues with people parking across our driveway, but we were pretty chummy with the pool owner and would just get him to put the message out over the loudspeakers, and the people would come over, apologize, and move their car. However, one afternoon coming home from school, this person had the audacity to park in our driveway, in our garage. My dad was dumbfounded. We went over and put the message out as per usual, and this woman in her 30s came over in a huff and said she would fix it when she had finished her exercise routine. So my dad just parked behind her, and we went out for dinner for 4 hours or so. But the story does not end there. She kept doing it, usually 2-4 times a month. Eventually, my dad would not think twice about parking her in and letting her out at his own leisure. No problem by us, lots of problems by her. She once called the police on us, to which they just told her to not park on private property and wrote her a citation. But wait, there's more. One Saturday morning, she had the gall to park us in our own driveway. Dad had had enough. He made sure she was doing her laps, grabbed a coat hanger, jimmed the car open, and dismantled the passenger seat, taking it out and leaving it on the curb in front of the pool exit. He then sat on our front deck, sipping his tea as she came out of the pool to get her car. She walked past the passenger seat without a second glance and scowled at him as she opened her car and got in. She then did a double take as she went to put her bag on the seat. She freaked out, realizing that my dad had had access to her car and belongings this entire time and done nothing about it until now. She ran over, grabbed her seat, put it in the boot, and drove off. Never heard from her again. TLDR, don't with a man that can dismantle your car. This happened a while ago. A little bit of background, what my then girlfriend had with this ex-Marine guy who was a total hothead. He got kicked out because he punched his CO in the face. Real smart of her to get involved in, but what am I gonna do? I had to deal with him all the time, calling her, freaking her out, showing up at her house at 3 a.m. and sitting for a few hours then leaving. The kid was nuts. What made it bad for me was that he was 24. I was 17 at the time. I'm pretty strong for my age, but I'm not gonna myself. There was nothing I could do against someone of his physique. He was my height and outweighed me by probably 40 pounds. Halloween of last year, he showed up when my girlfriend and I were having a fight about him, funnily enough. He rolled into the parking lot, no idea how he found us, but whatever. He got out of his car and stormed towards us. She walked over to him and told him to leave. I yell at him to get the out and roll up my sleeves, ready for a rumble, and he saw this as a threat. He puffs up and yells, "Come the at me you?" I thought for a second. I had had enough of this guy. It had been a year. He had been tormenting her, and so I walked over toward him, and he started getting all ready for some real Hulk smash to go down. I walked right past him, over to his car, opened up the driver door, and asked him to get in. He looked at me like I just asked him nicely to do something, and overcome with Neanderthal rage, he ran full speed at me. I was scared, and at the last second, moved out of the way, pushing the door closed. He smashed face first into the window and did a number on the side of the car. His face was really messed up, and I didn't know whether or not he was conscious. Never having got into a physical altercation before, I was really disturbed by this, and so didn't know how to act. I looked at him and did the first thing that came to my head. I him over and over and said, "Leave me the FCK alone," him on each word. My girlfriend stopped me and I stood up. I looked at her and said, "You wanna have his children. They had unprotected. Then you deal with his childish antics." I'm done with both of you, got in my car, and drove the speed limit out of there, freed of all of my baggage and heart beating like a drum. TLDR dodged a bull, a child, and obeyed all traffic laws. Sorry for the length. Edit she had with him the first day that we went on a break after 8 months. No idea why I took her back. Guess I'm a softie. Mother was creepy and had a lot of time/money/resources on his hands. He found a tracking app so that he could see where her cell is, I guess. I think he figured out her Skype password so he could see when she talked to me, and once even Skyped me pretending to be her, and was the opposite of pleasant. He didn't really terrify me with his antics. They were more creepy than terrifying, if you get what I'm saying. What was a little scary was his physique. Not all former military members are like that. I spent 3 years in the Army as a reconnaissance specialist, cavalry scout, and didn't come out anything like this guy. It's usually the people that are screwed up in the head/social washouts. As you mentioned, to begin with, that get into the "I'm a hardcore Marine/soldier" mentality and can't let it go when they rejoin the civilian world. Well, I have led an unfortunate life and have seen my share of social washouts. I literally had no car and no way to attend college. Now I have both and have a job where I am doing well. I have gained perspective and real leadership experience that will benefit me in the civilian world. However, there are numerous people who join for other reasons. It is unfair of you to generalize us when you have likely only experienced the douchiest of our numbers. I see from your post history that you like martial arts, and in my experience, the military folks who gravitate towards that stuff have a tendency to be the douchiest of the who generally feel like they have something to prove. I don't extend that sentiment to all people who do martial arts, and I don't think you should extend that sentiment to all people from the military. I meant that a real Marine would have likely had the discipline and presence of mind not to do something so dumb. Most of the hot-headed psychos you met were likely kicked out because they were hot-headed psychos. Believe it or not, that kind of thing makes you a liability on the battlefield. Also, a lot of people who get kicked out make up stories to soothe their ego. Most people who can put up with the amount of needed to get in honorable discharge are generally okay people. You likely have met them. I've met both the bags and the real Marines. Even some of the bags finished service. Although the rise to the top to be noticed quite easily once they are back with civilians. Most of the real Marines I ever met neither mentioned, gloated, bragged, or talked about their service to me. I would never have known they had been a Marine unless someone told me. It was something they did for themselves and for others without needing and or wanting to be recognized for it. I wasn't disrespecting Marines as a whole, merely mentioning that there can be bad apples in all facets of life. One of my friends kept doing the beer bottle at a party we went to, but I got him back by raising my bottle really fast as he brought his down, then letting go quickly. Both bottles shattered and fell to the ground. He got covered in beer and everyone gave him for being in and smashing my beer. Win.